No, Lil Durk has filed a few motions to try to get out of jail. Number one, there's a motion to dismiss. And it's basically saying defendant Dirk Banks, through his counsel of record, is moving the court to dismiss the superseding indictment against him in this matter. In the alternative, he moves to compel disclosure of the grand jury minutes and evidence the government presented to the grand jury. Now, here's the thing. Grand jury proceedings are usually secret, and unlike a not preliminary hearing. What the fuck? Am I tweaking? I am tweaking right now. Grand jury versus... All right. No, it is a preliminary hearing. No. Yeah. It's not called preliminary hearing. What the fuck is it called? Maybe it is called preliminary hearing. All right. Yes. So a grand jury, the person who's accused doesn't show up. His lawyers are rarely ever present. In few times they are. If you have preliminary hearings, for like for example with the Rocky case, you get to kind of like give a counter argument to what the state is trying to say or the feds is trying to say you should be charged with. So Dirk, for whatever reason, his counsel or his lawyers are saying, yo, this is complete bullshit. They got me on this murder for hire charge. And they're now even skeptical of how he was even indicted. So they're like, we're requesting the minutes or the transcript of what went on in the grand jury proceeding that y'all charged me with murder. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is complete bullshit. So it says the motion is based on the attached memorandum of points and authorities and whatever. The undersigned assigned assistant U.S. attorneys in this matter had a meet and confer regarding this matter on this date. Okay. So they're citing a lot of case law and essentially saying that, you know, here we go. They're believing that half of the reason why Dirk is indicted is because the feds are using music. And in one of the songs, it's a song called, let me see if I can find it. He did a song for Babyface Ray on Wonderful Wayne. By the way, this is listed by the prosecutor as one of the main reasons why they feel like Dirk is bragging about the murder. And they said he only did it because of Babyface Ray's request. The song in question was ultimately attributed to his album and was credited to Dirk. Dirk recorded his portion in January of 2022. If you don't remember, I believe Lil Pop was killed in August or later of 2022, and that being his last involvement in the song. Further production was done by producers and other industry professionals, but no changes to the content or lyrics were ever made by Banks or anyone associated with Banks. All this information was readily available to the government outside of four corners of the superseding indictment, but important to this court's consideration of egregiousness of government conduct and necessity of the relief contained in this motion. The issue of the time of the lyrics was addressed by the undersigned defense counsel at Mr. Banks' detention hearing on this date. To counter this argument, counsel for the government posited to the court that even if the lyrics themselves were written several months prior to the charged conduct, a version of this song was modified and added audio from a news clip of Tyquin Bowman, which is Quan Orlando, on top of the original song. So they're saying that because there was a news footage used of Quan Orlando's cousin's murder, Lil Pop, they're saying that you were trying to take some credit. Even if the original lyrics you wrote wasn't about that, when you then added the news clip after the murder, that means you were trying to take some shots and you were probably hinting that you were involved somehow. To counter this argument, counsel for the government, Following his assertion at the detention hearing and unaware of any such modification attributed to Mr. Banks. So they're saying Durk didn't make that modification. The government replied with videos that appears to be taken from a recent open source YouTube searches that in no way connected to Mr. Banks. It further complicates what evidence, argument, and instructions the government presented to the grand jury and will be addressed in more specificity below. Now, it's very important we talk about grand jury. So a grand jury, their job is not to find evidence or look at the evidence with the lens of, is it provable beyond a reasonable doubt? That's trial. It's all about probable cause. And to simplify probable cause literally means that, there's three levels. Reasonable suspicion, which is behavior, or not behavior necessarily, but reasonable suspicion means a law enforcement officer has reasonable suspicion that a crime has committed or could be in progress of committing or could commit in the future based on A, B, or C, okay? So you have reasonable suspicion. Probable cause is that you have good enough reason to not only suggest a crime is committed, but that but evidence of the crime being committed is either in a car or whatever the case is. Reasonable doubt, which means it's no doubt in your mind that this person did the crime or a crime was committed, right? So they're saying that, for this grand jury proceeding, how could they link Durk to a murder for hire in a probable cause setting, because that's what grand juries do, when there were facts that were incorrect before that weren't corrected, right? So the issue is over the timing of his recording, and they're saying that it was recorded way before the death, okay? All right. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. I don't think that's why he's going to get denied bond or even granted bond. I think the judge is kind of looking at the totality of the conduct, and what we don't know is the snitches at this point. I don't think the feds want to reveal their hand too quickly by just announcing who's telling. So I think that's why they're using these other things and kind of like nitpicking rather than just like announce that, hey, we have a cooperant, right? Even though there is someone that is listed in the indictment that seems to be clearly cooperating, which will be one of the shooters. All right. Now, that's what Durk's team is saying. Now, we have to properly vet this by going to what the feds are saying, right? Here we go. Okay, so the feds are saying this. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think this is it. Hold on. Wait, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get the... I don't yet have the entire motion to oppose, so I really only have Durk's side of this. So I'll show it, but we don't have the full thing. Give me a second. Okay. So another document kind of like, they're trying to get Durk out, but their only thing is to try to contest these lyrics. They're like, yo, half of the reason they believe that Durk has brazenly admitted to these things, he's acting reckless, and he's a part of this murder is because there is a song that came out that's called Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy that people and the government thinks he's bragging about this murder. And it references a audio from a news clip that was taken shortly after Lil Pop's murder where Quando screamed, "No, no," and this is where the lyrics then match that story. Told him they got an Addy. Go, go. Got location. Go, go. Green light. Go, 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 go. Look on the news and see your son. You screaming, no, no. And he says, pussy. Okay? This is Durk's team talking here. It says the defense counsel produced an affidavit from the sound engineer and music producer basically saying this was recorded before. The song could have been a commercialization of Mr. Banks' participation in the murder because it happened before, and the government supposedly led the grand jury to believe that. It says when addressing the affidavit, the government referenced a music video not yet produced to the defense containing the Wonderful Wayne lyrics to the song alongside news footage of the shooting at issue. The government told the court, Your Honor, we actually object to this proffer in line of argument about Mr. Banks' lyrics being recorded several months before the murder. It says the bottom line is there is a video that was filmed showing the defendant rivals screaming no, no, and that was placed over these lyrics. So Durk's team is seemingly taking this idea that you have him locked up because he supposedly rapped about this stuff. I don't think that's the only reason why, but we'll keep going. This is a new package for Durk. It says he's a devoted husband, father, son, and an internationally well-known, renowned musician and recording artist. And he should be granted pretrial on reasonable conditions that include the following: a bond secured partially paid in by $900,000 in equity in real estate properties, $1 million in cash tendered by Alamo Records. So clearly Alamo Records, which I think now is distributed by Sony, they agreed to pay $1 million if they could get him out, and $150,000 in cash tendered by, who the hell is this? Nizar Ali Bobby? What the fuck? Hold on, give me 1 second. Who's this nigga? Oh, fuck. Who's this guy? He's from Atlanta. Like he's some rich kid. Like, how old is he? I don't know. Anyway, so $150,000 in cash tendered by this guy who's Mr. Banks' business associate. Home detention, so they want him on house arrest, or they're suggesting house arrest because this is Durk's team is trying to make a package with electronic monitoring, around the clock security measures, security services, ensuring compliance on all conditions imposed by the court, and reporting to pretrial services, and five additional third-party sureties and guarantors to satisfy a bond amount that the court determines to be reasonable. Wow. For the foregoing conclusions, he respectfully requests that the court reconsiders his previous order of detention and permit his release secured by a robust bond package. Okay. Now, it appears that this is, hold on. Looked like he was denied. So the magistrate, no, never mind. No, this is an old order by the magistrate when he just got locked up. They denied his release then, and the exhibit for the motion to release is, this is the producer saying, yo, I worked with him on the song. It was made way before the murder happened. Exhibit 2 is, who's this? He's an audio engineer? Okay. Okay. All right. So essentially, I don't think Durk's going to be granted bond. The charge is too serious. If his only way to try to prove that he's not caught up in this murder is to say, yo, y'all are using my lyrics to try to help detain me, and I wrote those lyrics way before that murder ever happened. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is a serious case. Like, it's murder. They're not gonna just let him out to go home to his mansion, right? So I completely understand that.